How many times am I going to have to film this before I actually get it right? Hello you Hillmaniacs, it's Hillmanator, and today I am just going to be giving you another quick update about my life. Additionally, later on in the video I'm going to be including some tips for those of you who are going into exams in this season, because it's my exam season as well. Yes, I realise that this is probably not the most interesting topic, but hopefully you guys enjoy it. As of right now, I'm recording this on the day it's uploading because I'm productive and efficient. No I'm not. And we've just entered exam season at Lancaster, so as you can probably guess, I have exams coming up. But that isn't all. I also have a group project in film. Have you guys ever watched Psycho? I've talked about it a while ago on my channel, but it's a really good film. You should check it out. But if you aren't ever going to watch it, or if you've already watched it, then feel free to listen to this little section. If not, then skip to this point and I'll fill you in on everything except the plot point. I don't know why I'm giving you guys a spoiler warning, because this film's like from the 60s, but... So we have to recreate a scene in Psycho, and the scene that we have to recreate is the part where Lila walks down the stairs, sees Norma's body, screams, and then Norman comes down dressed as her and then tries to kill Lila, and Sam stops him. Okay? For those of you who skipped ahead, we have to recreate a certain scene from this film, and we can recreate it in any genre or style or whatever. I've heard some groups want to do it as a... I've seen some groups do it as a silent film. I've heard one group is even going to do it as a musical, which should be interesting. But we're still in the pre-production phase at this point. We're working out on trying to get it through, you know, actual production and then post-production, and we have to have that finished by the end of the month so that we can present it to a group of somewhere between 50 to 150 people. So I've been working in this group with other people from my class, and most of them have been lovely. There's one guy who just hasn't responded to anything, but the rest of them have all been really nice. So hopefully we can get through this group project together, and then, you know, we'll get good grades from that, fingers crossed. I mean, this is also for film, which, as most of you know, is my minor, so technically this isn't as important as my exams, but it's still pretty important because it is technically part of my grades, and it's a whole complicated system. I have my film exam, my written exam that is, on the 4th of June, then on the 8th I have my RS exam, then I have a bit of a break. I have until the 19th until my philosophy exam, but that one's going to be heavy. RS and philosophy are probably the two hardest ones, obviously, because they're the ones that are my majors, so... But I'm going to try and get through them. All of these exams are 3 hours long, and as you can probably tell from the fact that all of my videos where I've shown you me working have involved my laptop heavily, I don't tend to write that much anymore with my physical hand, as in pen-wise. I use my laptop all the time, so it's going to be interesting me trying to write for 3 hours solid. Those of you who are of the praying variety, if you could be praying for my exams to go well, including my group project, and for me to get what I need in order to be able to go to New Zealand next year as my study abroad scheme, then that would be great. Those of you who aren't, I would appreciate it if you sent me, you know, nice, you know, good luck messages and whatnot. Here's the thing, I also know that I'm not the only one going through exams this year, because obviously my flatmates are, but it's not just us. I've heard that a couple of people at GCSE level have watched my videos, and a couple of people at A level from both from the schools that I used to go to and from other schools in general have been watching it, and then obviously a couple of us at university have been watching it. Not just like my friends, but other people I've had comment on it. So it's been interesting to have people actually watching me. What I want to say for those of you going into exams is that good luck, I believe in you and I will be praying for you, and I have a couple of bits of advice to, you know, help out. I mean, you probably don't need the advice and you're probably capable of working this out yourself, but I need something to pad this video out to 10 minutes, so I'm going to give you some advice to help you through your exams. Now, the first one is specifically for religious people, specifically, you know, I'm going to use Christian examples because I'm a Christian and it's easiest for me, but you apply it to how you will. One of the easiest things that you guys can do is pray. To be praying that all of your exams go well, and that if they don't, that God will grant you peace and, you know, help you through with this, and that it will all go, you know, according to his plan for your life. And I believe that God has a plan for your life and that it is a good plan. So I'm going to be praying for you guys, but if you are religious of some variety, then one of the best things that I believe that you can do is pray. Now for the rest of you lot, and also for the religious people I suppose, because all of you can probably do this one, like revise maybe, it's kind of useful. Now this is incredibly hypocritical for me to say because I am terrible at this. In fact, I was one of those annoying people who never really needed to revise and still got the grades. I know, I don't like it either. I would rather that I had worked for it, but such is the way it is. And I realise this is me complaining about my success, but sorry. Point is, revision is the most useful way to do this, and you probably should have been revising quite a while ago, to be honest. But if you haven't been, start now. Most of you have got about a month, maybe 2 months between now and your exams, and that's a reasonable amount of time. You can probably do a fair amount of revision in that space of time, so I would recommend doing that. For great revision tips, I'm probably not the person to ask because, as I said, I'm not the person who revised the most, but there are some channels that I can recommend who have revision tips. First off, I would look at Unjaded Jade, also Ibsmo and Jack Edwards, and Eve Bennett, Eve Cornwell and Ruby Granger. Those are the 6 channels that I look at most when I'm wanting to look at study tips. They're kind of other StudyTube community thing. I enjoy their videos and I'm hoping that for those of you who have exams they will be useful to you. My next piece of advice is in regards to the day before the exam and the day of the exam. Trying to cram an entire term's worth of lessons into one day doesn't work for the vast majority of people. Now, you may think that you're the exception, but you probably aren't, statistically speaking. I mean, let's take it for example. My class is for year 11. We had 250 people, odd. Pretty much everyone I knew needed to revise. There were maybe 2 people in my entire year group, myself included, who were the sort of people who just managed to wing it. So don't be me. That's probably one of the best pieces of advice I can give, just don't be me. But specifically, trying to get it all done in one day, it's not going to happen, because for every fact that you remember, you're more than likely going to dislodge at least 1, if not 2, or more. I've heard, in fact, specifically that for every fact that goes in on exam day, 2 facts go out. And I realise that's probably more of an analogy, but it's still a useful bit of info. You know, don't overdo yourself on exam day or the day before. Now, I'm not saying don't revise on those days. That's not what I'm saying at all. But what I'm saying is don't try and teach yourself new content on those days, because it's not going to go in properly. If you have a morning exam, you're going to want to go to bed early the night before. And I mean pretty darn early. I would say Now again, this is hypocritical of me because I'm an insomniac, but I would recommend that if you have an exam the next day, you should probably be going to bed by 10 at the latest. Of course, I didn't do this, but that's because I'm unhealthy, so don't be me. You're going to want to get there early, and I don't mean like, oh, it's 7 in the morning, I've gotta get to my exam. What I mean is you need to be outside of your exam hall at least 15 minutes before your exam starts. And by that I don't mean before the actual exam starts, I mean 15 minutes before they say you need to be outside. In the UK, normally you will have a solid exam time at 1 o'clock or 9 AM, and you're expected to be there a quarter of an hour earlier. But I am saying be there half an hour earlier so that you can take a bit of time to do my next step, which is to relax. This is quite probably the most important piece of advice that I can give to you on this. Exams are stressful and they do impact your life. Heck, if it weren't for exams, I wouldn't be at university. But that doesn't mean that you need to stress. Stress, in the end, is only going to cause you to not perform as well. And we all know that's not what we want. So you should probably try and relax. And I realise me saying relax isn't exactly good advice, but that's not what I'm trying to say here. What I'm trying to say is that you should probably try and use some relaxing techniques while you're outside waiting for your exam to start. Because in that last half hour you aren't going to absorb any new information, so there's no point trying to, you know, cram anything in. Instead, I recommend doing either breathing practices or, you know, as a Christian, I like to pray in that time, or I like to think of worship songs. But if you're going from a secular point of view or any other point of view, you can just think of other songs. And there are lots of good relaxation techniques that you can look up online which will help you to be calm as a cucumber when you step into that exam hall, which is exactly what you need to be. Fear is the greatest enemy of all students, in my opinion, because ultimately it's the thing that causes us to just panic and not get down our answers in time. If you only do one thing on this list, please just try and calm yourself before you go into that exam hall. With that said, I'm not going to try and give you any more advice because I've already been enough of a hypocrite today. Yikes. I realise now that I've done the opposite of most of these things. I did manage to stay calm before my exams though. I was pretty chilled about all of them, and I mean, it's worked out for me, so hopefully it does for you. Anyway, I'm gonna try and leave it off there. I probably will ramble on some more now because that's what I do, but I hope that you've enjoyed this video. I hope that one of my tips has been helpful for you, and I also hope that you've enjoyed the part which was not related to you guys at all. You know, I needed to do some housekeeping. So yeah, I hope that you've enjoyed this video, I hope it's been useful for you, and I hope that you come back. Okay, thanks for watching all. I shall catch you next time.